Hello, and welcome to Seriously Pointless Conversations About Culture, the podcast where myself and a few of my friends get together and discuss nerdy things. Just a reminder, if you like what you're listening to, please subscribe to Seriously Pointless Conversations YouTube channel, or you can find us on your favorite podcasting apps. Thank you for your support. Without you, none of this would be possible. Thanks for coming by. Now let's get into the episode.
Welcome to Seriously Pointless Conversations About Culture, your seriously pointless podcast about all kinds of culture and geek and nerd information, which is not really that pointless because I think we have a lot of interesting things to say. So welcome to our Dragon Ball Z episode, kahmehameha!
Oh dear God. You're coming
You
in
might
here.
have to cut that out, sorry.
No, that's gonna stay in there the whole
that's
time.
great.
That's gonna stay in here because that has way more energy than I have today. So that's phenomenal. So,
Yeah.
anyways, hi, my name's David. I'm your host, and I am joined again by my wonderful co-host, Jackie. What's going on today?
Oh, I'm awake and alive, so I'm pretty good.
You're pretty good. So, I don't know, you weren't here the last couple episodes, but we were doing a kind of, what have you been up to? What have you been watching? What have you been doing nerd-related the last couple weeks? Or nothing serious, like, what have you been vegging on recently?
I don't really veg much anymore, but I did get the number 17 Dresden Files book, Battleground, and I've been reading that.
Hi.
And
Shout out to Jim Butcher, man. If you
Yes.
ever want to send us free copies of stuff, dude, I will wear your t-shirts. I'll do anything, man. I love your
such
stuff.
a hound. Why are you calling out to
Hey,
these poor people?
he's great.
He is a good author, but
he's
I
a
don't want him
great
to
author.
send me stuff. He doesn't need to do that. I just
Yes, he
want him to
can.
write.
He can write and he can send me anything. He wants to send me a button. I'll wear a button. He wants to pay for a tattoo so I can get on my butt. It says Harry Dresden for life. I'll totally get that.
I think that he has better things to do.
I don't know. I doubt that.
And anyway, that's what I've been doing, and I have been enjoying it.
Yeah, shout out guys though. Yeah,
insane.
he just came out
books.
he just came out with the last two books.
Yeah, pretty recent.
Peace Talks
Talks
and then Battlegrounds. Battlegrounds just came out was it September or was it October?
I don't remember. I lost track.
It's pretty recent though.
because of work, and then
So,
I saw it was on Amazon.
Are you enjoying it though?
I am. Yeah, I will say. I guess I feel like at this point I'm just really invested. I have read he plans to do 20 books in the series.
What
This
number is
is
this one?
17.
Oh,
and
so he's getting
I
close.
feel like I have to know what's going on. They're talking about now how Harry is starborn, and they still haven't really revealed what all that
spoilers.
means. Yeah, but we don't know what it means. We just know he is one, and so it's intense.
He's just gonna get a kiss tattoo where it's gonna be right over his eye. He's
like
just
a giant star.
Yeah, like the guy from Kiss.
I kind of doubt it, but I enjoy it. I enjoy the characters. I like seeing what happens, and
That's the second time I've brought that up in the last I don't know how many weeks. So, anyways, go ahead.
that's depressing.
I know
but,
it is pretty bad, isn't it?
that is what I've been doing, and yeah, that's about it. So enjoying it, and books are good.
Cool. So I have actually been up to playing some more Binding of Isaac. Actually, your favorite video game to watch me play.
Yeah.
So I'm
kind
just.
of gross.
That's okay. I've just been playing it because they're getting ready to. They're planning on doing a release of a new kind of expansion portion of it. I cannot remember what it's called. It's not Afterbirth. It's called something else. I can't remember what it was called, but James was telling me about it, and I started playing it, Binding of Isaac again. He was playing with me, helping me get through a couple of the challenges last week because they're just god-awful hard. So that's what I've been up to. I've been doing that on a little Lego Harry Potter, which you saw me playing today. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a Lego fanatic a little bit. So, because even though I can't afford to buy into Legos, I buy the Lego games, and it's kind of like a pseudo childhood experience. So,
Wow.
but hey, you know what? You gotta do what you love, that's what I say. But today, guys, we're going to be talking about another childhood experience. Not mine personally, but of Jackie's, actually.
Yes.
So let's start off with, so this is Dragon Ball Z. So just for a little clarification, this isn't Dragon Ball, where it's not Goku when he's younger, which is the original series, and it's not Dragon Ball Z Kai, which is the newer series that they just came
the
out.
one that, because my students are like obsessed.
Yes,
and
that's
they're
the
all
newer
excited.
one.
I figured
and my buddy,
that's the new one that
and,
came
and
out.
a couple of the guys like Vazoo and Spencer are super into it at work, and I'm like, I can't.
I was like, just throw out their names. Jeez, they don't want to be mentioned.
Who cares? They don't mind Jackie. I promise you that. They to be called up for Dragon Ball Z fans or Dragon Ball Z Kai. Honestly, those
They'd be proud of
Spencer
that.
is like those are pretty common enough names. They probably won't bother. But Spencer is like really he's pretty much a super Dragon Ball fan. So like he's like talk shade to Vizio
That's kind of
about like he's like he's like I know who you like. He's like Gohan a bitch. I was like, dude, you can't like why are you doing that? He just does it to rattle Vazoo, and it's hilarious to watch. But anyways, so we're not going to be talking about the newest series or the oldest series. We're going to be talking about the one in between because, in my opinion, that's the one that's probably had the most impact on us culture-wise, at least, or at least us in general. But let's start with your first introduction to Dragon Ball Z, Jackie, because this is kind of your bread and butter when you were a kid.
Jam. I'm trying to think when I first started watching it. My brother and I were really into it. We would come home from school, and it started at 4 o'clock, I think, or it started at 3:30.
After school cartoons.
Yeah, well, we'd watch Channel 23. It was on Cartoon Network, and Pokemon started at 3. And so we lived like a block from the school, so we would pretty much like we'd get home and catch
bane of your dad's
most
existence.
of we'd get like he's talking about my dad hates Pokemon, but
anyways, go ahead.
I mean, we didn't like Pokemon was fine. We enjoyed watching it, but we really we would always miss the first part of it because we wouldn't get home right at 3. And so we would be more excited. 3:30 was when Dragon Ball Z started. And I have a feeling it was probably I don't know, maybe 4th grade that we really got into it. Maybe 5th grade. But I just remember my brother and I rushing home and getting down in front of the TV and starting Dragon Ball. And I remember Dragon Ball Z. I remember hating the commercial breaks. And when I look back, they cut out so much of the episode. I think I've watched some of the episodes on YouTube, and it's this is really 15 minutes, and they stretched it out to 30 by shoving it chock full of commercials. And I remember that Steven and I would get so mad when the commercials would get on.
I mean, so it's kind of like whenever we watch, we'll watch anime nowadays, and every episode is maybe 20
minutes
24 minutes, 25 max usually. And so you're there's a whole 5 to 10 minutes in there that's just commercials that there has to be somewhere. But I actually like watching anime a little bit more now that I'm older because it's not as long.
Yeah, it is kind of nice versus a Netflix series like Stranger Things, which is also wonderful, but it's so long. Whereas anime,
45 minutes.
You get through one episode and it's okay, and especially when you have kids and jobs and things to do, it's just hard to make time for anything.
You just sit down and kind of veg for about 15, 20 minutes or whatever it is, and you get a little time in between. Say you're cooking something, or you can just throw it up there and you can watch it and put the English dubs on there, even though I'm not really a big English dubs fan, but you can do it and kind of multitask a little bit. So
well, I mean, you can do that.
I know
I just read the subtitles.
You're a purist, so you're better than I am. So, but other than Saturday afternoon cartoons.
Well, no, it was
not Saturday.
It was
after
Monday
school.
Through Friday.
After school cartoons. Sorry.
I mean, we had all the toys. We got video games. I remember we got into it pretty hardcore, and
there you go.
We.
If anybody doesn't know, like I said, you can't see this, but I pulled up one of her old action figures. It's a Vegeta, and he's Super Saiyan. Yeah, our kid was actually playing with this the other day, and he just it was somewhere, so it just happened to be behind us.
I just like how you will grab things or make hand motions and head gestures as if they could see you. This is all audio, by the way.
Is it?
But yeah, my brother and I. It was a good bonding thing because we'd fight over characters. My best friend at school, Laura, we'd talk. And I still remember the day in 8th grade when she told me She said, I have a confession to make. I've decided I don't like Dragon Ball Z anymore. And it just like...
crumbled your world.
I mean, we were still friends. I think the fact that we got over that was a pretty big achievement for both of us.
Yeah.
But I just remember I had drawn her... it was an 8.5 by 11 picture with a whole bunch of the characters all together. Colored pencil, beautiful detail, the paper was full of all these characters. Yeah, and I drew that for her and gave it to her as a gift, and she was like, I'm sorry, but I've decided I don't like Dragon Ball Z anymore. And I was like, no, blasphemy, no.
She just took your heart and ripped it out and stomped on it.
Then I do remember that my friend Ryan was like, well, I like Dragon Ball Z, but have you noticed when they laugh how their shoulders move? And it's like, ha, ha, ha.
And they're basically doing trap shrugs the whole time. And it's like, who laughs like that?
I remember my mom, I think it was my dad. He preferred Dragon Ball Z to Pokemon, but he did say those guys need some some X-Lax, or they need something, because he would always act like, oh man, they're like, oh, he's like, God, that's a serious bowel movement. I'm like, Dad!
That's your dad. I love your dad to death.
So, I remember the critics, and looking back, when I still love it, but looking back at it, it's like, yeah, that's kind of ridiculous. But I still love it anyway.
Well, it's why your tastes evolve as you get older, and so everybody's got their thing.
It's aged better than Space Jam, I will say that
I know.
much.
It's like you bust my chops over say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and you think it's kind of dumb looking, but I love it to this day. Even though now I watch, like I said, that you look back at those cartoons, I watch on the cartoons, and I'm just like, God, how did I get through this as a child? And my brain didn't melt out of my ears, because you look at it now in some of those cartoons, and I'm like, they're cool looking, but man, the plots are so thin.
Well, it's like the first Pokemon movie that I remember Dad took us to theaters to see that. Part of the reason he hates Pokemon so much, because that was torture.
You made him sit through an hour and 15 minutes of
that.
that.
And then I have rewatched that movie, and it's awful. It's literal trash. And for some reason, I don't know, Dragon Ball Z, I don't feel that way. I still like it, but Pokemon for me did not age well.
No.
It just didn't work out. But anyway, back to Dragon Ball Z.
The games, on the other hand, are flawless.
Well, yeah, that's different.
So that's kind of our basic, the idea of us kind of get into it. If you guys have had any similar experiences, let us know. If you guys watch, after school specials or Saturday morning cartoons like the rest of us 90s kids did, let us know, because it's like I said, I want to hear about your guys' experiences as well. But kind of moving forward from that, so how you kind of looked over my show notes a little bit. Just briefly, how do you think Dragon Ball Z came to be? Out of what?
I didn't look over your notes that carefully. Sorry.
That's okay.
I don't have.
So I'll jump in.
Why don't you explain that? Because I know Dragon Ball came first, and I've seen a lot of that too.
You've seen the iconic image of basically little Goku flying around on the Nimbus cloud.
Yeah, with the tail
and his little bow staff thing.
Yeah, and then Bulma's in that one.
Yeah, but somehow she's still a grown adult, which is weird.
She's supposed to be a teenager,
which is still weird.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Because they end up getting married.
She marries. You're thinking of Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi married Goku. Bulma marries Vegeta.
I'm sorry. So then
Bulma's
it's still
the
weird.
Blue hair.
That's still weird.
Yeah, well, and I don't remember if Vegeta's supposed to be older than Goku or not. I kind of think he is a little bit, but I don't remember.
Here, I'm going to take your word for that one, because like I said, I'm outside of my depth on this one. So,
yeah.
Anyways, so like we were saying, the Dragon Ball Z is actually a sequel to Dragon Ball, and it adapts the latter 325 chapters of the original 519 chapter Dragon Ball manga. So it's actually Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z are essentially the same manga. It's like the second half of
Dragon Ball Z when Goku grows up. It's
basically, they say, Goku grows up, and then now it's Dragon Ball Z, but it's technically the same manga. But it was created by, and I'm going to butcher this name, is Akira Toriyama, I believe that's how you say it. And he ran it, which is one of Shonen Jump's original title, or one of its more original titles, from 1988 to 1995. And then it was so well received in Japan that it actually Dragon Ball began to air in Japan on Fuji TV April 1989 to January of 96, and eventually got dubbed over. It was so well received, and it kind of started to trickle out a little bit into American markets. So the way things worked back in the day with Japanese anime and things like that, you'd get VHSs and things like that with just Japanese language on it, voiceovers, no subtitles, and what would happen is people that actually spoke Japanese, they would pick it up,
And they would do their own subtitles?
Well, they wouldn't subtitle it, but they could actually watch it, and they would like either ship it over or whatever, because back in the day they didn't have a lot of subtitles and stuff like that from like Japan, things like that. They had some, but it was very rare for like Japanese anime to get subtitled. It was kind of starting to get there with like Vampire Hunter D and a couple other like Gundam Wing, things like that. So, but it still wasn't as prominent. Like you basically had there was a limited amount of production on this kind of stuff. So whenever you did get it, people would either watch it in Japanese and be like, "Oh, this is really good," and a lot of times they would make their fan subtitles. So a lot of times you have people that actually get anime nowadays that's not readily available to big markets, and they'll actually make fan-made subtitles. So they still do that quite a bit, which is a crazy thing to think of.
That's not really pirating, exactly.
I mean, not exactly, because you're doing.
They're reselling it though.
Not really. A lot of times they give it out for free.
Just share it.
They give it away for free a lot of times because they do that because at the time what they'll do is they'll watch it, they'll get what their approximation of the wording is, and then they'll type up and they'll put their own layover on it. So, which is kind of a really interesting concept, and they put it out on the internet, which I guess technically it is illegal probably for them to do, but that's what really helps saturate the market with anime. So because people are like, oh, look at all these fan-made subs that for anime that's not really available in the US, but it's like predominant over in Japan. So
I mean, this would have to be major fact-checked. I don't know anything like for certain on this, but I used to teach students from Japan, teach English as a second language, and I had asked a couple of my Japanese students about anime because I was saying, I really like it. Well, and they told me, oh my God, you guys are the reasons that it keeps selling, like you Americans.
That's right.
They said the only people in Japan that watch that are like total weirdos. One of my favorite students told me that.
That's
Takuya,
right.
He was the nicest guy. He played in a band. And I just remember he was like, oh, anime? Oh, no. He said, oh, no.
That's right.
He said, I don't watch that. Ugh. It was really funny. I thought, oh, and he's like, yeah, thanks to you Americans, like, it still sells. So, and that was like 8 years ago. So I don't know if that's true, but it was just kind of funny. And I do think that American markets help a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
We have there's
a lot of cultural exchange between Japanese and American culture, which I think we help feed off each other that way a little bit, because the Marvel movies and big cinematic movies, they sell huge over in Japan.
Well, and I love the fact that I love 2D animation. I just can't get enough of it, and I really hate 3D is not my thing, and I love that anime, so much of it is still 2D, and it just like warms my heart. So anyway, back to you summarized Dragon Ball, and then it goes to Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, so
when did that happen?
Essentially what it was, let me look at this real quick. Was missing, we'll cut this out here in a minute. So studio change producer.
You said Dragon Ball
Goku growing up.
started coming to the U.S.
Yeah, so to summarize a little bit of how they started doing Dragon Ball Z from the Dragon Ball show, they wanted to, Mr. Torishima, which is Toriyama's editor of a couple of his other anime or manga that he was doing, had done the first the first half of Dragon Ball, and he thought to himself, like they started to see the ratings kind of slump a little bit in Japan, and they said, well, this was cute and funny, but we want to go towards more of a serious tone with the newer series. And he said, so whenever we go to this new series, he says, well, let's really stress the more adult tones, I guess. Well, the more I wouldn't say adult tones. It is more of adulty, I guess.
Well, and
adult
there's
tones
people
with like
die.
fighting. And
Like,
so,
I don't feel like
and
that
they don't
happened
really,
in Dragon Ball.
and they don't have that in Dragon Ball. It's very much like, oh, I got hurt, or like we fight and like we get over it.
Cutesy.
It was very cutesy and
Dragon
very
Ball
chill.
Z, there was like, we're literally trying to save the world and people will die and bad things will happen. And
exactly.
it's a lot more like sex references too that were pretty like
Miss
kinda,
who's the turtle who's the turtle master guy? He's got like a turtle.
Oh yeah, I know, the old man that lives on the island.
It's not Orochimaru. That's a different anime.
It starts with a Y.
I'll get it up here in a minute,
Yoshimo or something.
but he's like a huge perv in the actual Japanese version. Like there's huge nosebleeds everywhere. It's just it's pretty funny.
They edited they cleaned it up for the U.S.
They don't have that stuff in the U.S. at all. In the English dubbed versions at all.
They when Goku dies and there's those two demon guys and it's supposed to say hell on their shirts.
Yeah, and they wipe it out.
Wipe part of it out so it says EL or something.
So we're going
ridiculous.
Yeah, we'll go over that a little bit here in a little bit. So after obviously they said they saw the ratings slump a little bit
on Dragon
Ball.
They souped it up for Dragon Ball Z.
So they souped it up for Dragon Ball Z. So the basic plot is what they went after. So we're gonna break this into big chunks because obviously this isn't like a video game where we go over game mechanics and things like that. We're gonna go over the story is everything in it. So we're going to go over chunks, we'll discuss it, and then we'll move on to the next chunk. So Dragon Ball Z picks up 5 years after the end of the Dragon Ball anime with Goku now a young adult and father to his son Gohan. A humanoid alien named Raditz arrives on Earth in a spacecraft and tracks down Goku, revealing to him that he is his long-lost older brother, and that they are members of a near-extinct extraterrestrial warrior race called the Saiyans. The Saiyans had sent Goku, originally named Kakarot, to Earth as an infant to conquer the planet for them, but he suffered a traumatic brain injury soon after his arrival and lost all memory of his mission, as well as his bloodthirsty Saiyan nature. Goku refuses to help Raditz continue the mission, which results in Raditz kidnapping Gohan. Goku decides to team up with his former enemy Piccolo, who is another. I don't know what race is Piccolo.
He's from Namek. He's a Namekian. I think is how you say it. He's green.
My hat comes off to you because I totally forgot what race he was. I just remember he looked. I always called.
Where they go.
I called him
I
call him the bug race. Is what I called him on my brain.
No, he's not a bug race.
Well, he has little antenna things, and he's green and purple.
He looks more. He has big ears like an elf.
Yeah, maybe
he's actually. I know he was mean in Dragon Ball, but I don't remember a lot of that. But I like Piccolo. He's funny.
He's a cool cat now.
Yeah, he's kind of a BA. He's really neat.
Because is it in the old one? Is it in Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z that they go back to his planet and they train?
It's in Dragon Ball Z because that's where they have to fight Frieza. Frieza's
that's later on, isn't it?
Yeah, that's later.
Okay.
And they have to fight Frieza.
Okay, so my bad. Anyway, so he teams up with his enemy Piccolo to defeat Raditz and save his son while sacrificing his own life in the process. So this is where they get to the weird adult kind of things where he goes to the afterlife.
He's essentially in hell, but they don't
Well, so Goku trains under the ruler of the North Galaxy, King Kai, and is taught the Kaioken and Spirit Bomb, also known as the Genki Dama techniques, before being revived by the Dragon Balls a year later in order to save the Earth from Raditz's allies. Nappa and the self-proclaimed Prince of all Saiyans.
Vegeta! Yeah, I love him.
I know, even though he's
such a douche
he's
kind
of a turd, isn't he?
I mean, he's still always kind of like a hateful little... I feel like little man syndrome.
He's definitely a little whiny bitch.
Yeah.
A little bit. So.
I like him though. He's funny.
That's okay. Everyone's got their friends.
And he's got his hoarse, raspy voice. I mean, Goku is definitely my favorite, but I always like Vegeta.
That's right. What's right? What are you doing, Goku?
Like that.
He talks like that, and I'm just like, dude, you are just like half a pack of cigarettes away from having throat cancer.
Yeah. I like Vegeta.
So anyways, Vegeta, he has to fight Vegeta, who arrived before Goku returns back from the afterlife.
Nappa is the tall, bald one, right?
Yes, I believe so. I'd have to.
Yeah.
I
remember he's bald and he has like a mustache and he's really tall.
See, I'm giving you flashbacks now. You're just starting to remember everybody, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of obsessed over this a long time ago.
So get this though. After Goku returns, Piccolo is killed by Nappa during the battle, along with Goku's allies, Yamcha
and
Tien, Sinhan, and Chiaotzu.
Does Krillin die? The little bald one?
Later on, I believe. Yeah. Not right now, yeah.
Well, and one of them, is it Tianzu maybe, or the one that has the 3 eyes? There's one that has 3 eyes, and there's one that has like big hair. Well,
I'll be honest with you. I don't remember them all. There's a couple. All I remember is Yamcha and.
Yamcha had the big hair.
No, yeah, Yamcha did have the big hair.
He was just like a human, but he
had
like wild
Tien's
hair.
The little guy with the little like he's like white and he's got like little.
I think Tien is the one with the 3 eyes, and
maybe
I think Xiao.
You know what?
You're gonna Google their pictures.
I'm gonna look up.
I have that fan page already pulled up where you can see all the characters.
So this is where you have Frieza set up. Like, come on.
Yeah, we'll go.
I got the Frieza saga, the Cell saga. I don't need these guys.
Cell was horrifying. Yeah, that was really sad when I remember those characters all died.
So I guess,
I think, didn't they go?
Would it be considered the Saiyan saga, I guess?
Yeah, they're in the Saiyan saga.
They don't have pictures of anybody down here, Jackie.
Oh, well, Ratatouille.
See? Oh, here you go. Characters. See? I'll just click characters.
Oh, my God.
I could watch all... They have characters on here, but look, they just have...
Well, if you click on the picture, I'm sure it'll tell you who it is.
No, these are newer characters. Like, these are newer characters. So that's Krillin. That's Piccolo.
Krillin, one of my friends dressed up as Krillin for Halloween and actually really pulled it off.
Did he shave his head?
I think he wore a skull cap.
Oh, that still works. That's pretty cool, though.
And had but he had the 6 dots drawn on his forehead.
Better him than me, but... So... Kind of continuing on, we got a little sidetrack. So,
character schmaracters.
But apparently, both Kami and the Dragon Balls cease to exist as a result of Piccolo's death. After Goku finally arrives at the battlefield, he avenges his fallen friends by defeating Nappa with his new level of power. Thus, the giant spirit bomb attack he uses probably. So that's the one where you see him, his hands above his head, and he just goes boom. It's like humongous looking.
Yeah.
And it probably takes 6 episodes for him to load it. So just hypothetically,
And the grunting and the
and you're just like, Jesus.
My dad comes in.
Like, here, have an X-Lax.
Somebody needs some medicine.
Hey, your dad is all about helping people out with their digestion.
Digestive health.
And he's all about
Very
it.
Important.
So after he joins the battle, he has to try to use his new level of power to defeat them. Vegeta executes Nappa for his failure and does battle with Goku. So this is essentially the first battle that Vegeta and Goku have, their big battle they have, because I think they've had a couple smaller encounters along the way. And so, but eventually Goku ultimately defeats Vegeta, and is thanks to the efforts of Gohan and Goku's other surviving allies, Krillin, who is actually still alive, and Yajirobe.
Yajirobe is the old man.
Okay,
he's Yajirobe is kind of like a rotund guy. Okay, you'll just have to Google his picture. Because
like I said, to be fair, without a diagram with their names and their pictures next to them, I'm awful about remembering these kinds of names.
It's just a bummer because I had a Pojo's unofficial Dragon Ball Z guide with all the pictures and everything, and he gave it to a former student a few years ago.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, because I thought, well, I don't use this, I don't need this, and he was obsessed with Dragon Ball Z.
Shit's a collector's item now. You
Yeah,
gotta be
I
careful.
know. Well, and I thought, I think you'd appreciate this, and he was like, oh my god. And now it's like, man, that's like when I gave away my Pokemon cards.
He just made like $10,000
Totally
and you don't even know.
Yeah, I know. Just like the kid that I babysat that sold all my Pokemon cards. Son of a witch.
Little jerk.
I know.
Anyway, so at Goku's request, they spare Vegeta's life and allow him to escape Earth, with Vegeta vowing to return. I will return and destroy the planet out of revenge for his humiliation at Goku's hands. So this is basically like his whole story arc at this point to try and just come back and defeat Goku.
He hates Goku.
That's his whole point in life at this point.
Yeah, that's his.
He's just this like a whiny little turd that is like, I finally got defeated. I gotta fight him. I'm gonna beat him. And I'm just like, dude, just. I think that's what started to turn me off a little bit on, because I actually didn't start watching Dragon Ball Z probably until I was in high school. Probably, I saw reruns of it on Toonami.
Man, you're late to the game.
Yeah, I was really late to the game. Like I got smatterings of it from like James, who's the other co-host normally here, guys. And he, like I said, he was my introduction to all things geek and anime, and I love him to death for it. So, but we would watch things like what was it, Cowboy Bebop and Trigun and Dragon Ball Z on.
Didn't you watch Lupin the Third?
We did. We even so they had so many.
Pretty
so Toonami. So Toonami was phenomenal because they would do huge anime blocks. We would stay up late at night. Like they started doing it at like 9.
Yeah,
and they would go until like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Oh man!
And we would stay up late watching some of these. And now it's just, I don't know if they still have them or not, but it's phenomenal. I love it to death. What are you doing?
I'm gonna look up your characters real quick.
You're gonna look at my characters. So they started. You really have this heavy influence. That's another reason why I think that anime is so prevalent in the U.S. is they would put them on Toonami for us, and you would have some of these. But the thing is, you'd watch these shows like back to back to back, but a lot of times they'd be in out of order, so you would have no idea what's really going on sometimes. Because I remember there was a couple episodes where we would watch Dragon Ball. I think Dragon Ball Z, they had them out of order on Toonami initially. I
would not be surprised at that.
Which, that's one of the things that we'll get into that a little bit later about the production and the I don't know what the right word for I'm looking for. Basically, the induction of them into American society. You just really have. Okay, sorry.
It's Master Roshi, by the way, is the old man.
Mr. Popo.
I remember Mr. Popo is
Popo is my favorite.
Literal.
Yeah, I know.
Black guy.
That's a little racist, but it's funny.
Well, and I remember Mr. Satan is the guy that's just like a normal human
dude.
That fights.
It's like, why is he called Mr. Satan?
Tien is the one with the 3 eyes and the bald. Yamcha has the big hair.
Master Roshi. Okay.
Yeah, I just told you that. Master
sorry.
Roshi is the old horny guy.
Chaozu
is the itty bitty little boy that's like white,
creepy,
with the little hair.
Chaozu. That's what I thought. Chaozu is the little. He's got the little green uniform, white face, and he's got the little red dimples and a little hat on him.
Yeah, it's kind of like, is he human? I don't remember.
I think he's supposed to be, but I'm not entirely sure on that.
Paints himself.
That'd be really odd.
That's
awkward
right there. He's an albino.
So maybe he is. I don't know. I mean, maybe
very distracting.
Oh, maybe he is an albino. We just don't know it. So
this is the kind of stuff we need to do ahead of time, so we have all the characters pulled up, so we don't have to look during the podcast.
It doesn't
have
matter.
The listeners just like, oh my god.
It doesn't matter.
They're looking up stuff.
You know what? It's our podcast. We're having fun. That's all that matters. So, anyways, continuing off of as Vegeta was originally fighting Goku, Krillin had actually overheard Vegeta mention the original set of Dragon Balls, mentioning the original set of Dragon Balls from Piccolo's homeworld, Namek. While Goku recovers from his injuries, Gohan, Krillin, and Goku's oldest friend, Bulma, who's actually from Dragon Ball, depart from Namek in order to use these Dragon Balls to revive their fallen friends. However, they discover that Vegeta's superior, the galactic tyrant Lord Frieza.
Yes.
He sounds like this. He's like, well, he kind of sounds like, if you guys have ever seen.
I don't really remember what they all sound like.
Oh, he's like he sounds so whiny.
He has like 3 forms.
Yeah, later on.
They all have like different forms, like they evolve.
If you ever have seen, there's a great AMV, which is an anime music video. Have you ever watched any of those?
Yeah, I have.
I'm sure I've seen you when there was one where it's literally just Frieza. He's sitting in his little pod, and it's set to a Metallica song where he's like, nah, 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 nah,
yes, I remember that.
Nah, 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 nah. And you're just like, what is this? But it's the best. It's the greatest. I can thank my buddy Cole for that because he was super into AMVs for, I don't know if he still is, but he was like super into them for a long time.
Yeah, I remember watching those at his
house.
I
remember he gave me an entire flash or CD full of them one time because we didn't have flash drives back then, but it was tremendous to say the least. So anyways, so they find out that the Frieza is also there looking for
the Dragon
Balls because he wants to achieve immortality. And a fully healed Vegeta arrives on Namek as well, also seeking immortality from the Dragon Balls, which leads to several battles between him and Frieza's henchmen.
The Ginyu Force.
I'm getting there. So realizing he's overpowered, Vegeta teams up with Gohan and Krillin to fight the Ginyu Force, a team of elite mercenaries summoned by Frieza.
They always have their dance moves.
That's right. They have their little V's in the air, or they have their butt turn. They turn around. They put their head. They're basically it's like they put their face between their legs, and it's weird. They have their hands stretched out the side. It looks bizarre.
It's like a choreographed group of like cheerleaders.
It's they're just so powerful. They get bored, and so they're like, we're gonna have a choreographed dance move.
They were funny. I just remember they were good fighters, but they were straight up like comic relief.
That's what they were.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, to make things a little bit lighter.
Just literally ridiculous.
Oh yeah. So they basically team up against them, and after Goku finally arrives on Namek, the epic battle with Frieza himself comes to a close when Goku transforms into the fabled Super Saiyan of legend and defeats him before escaping Namek as the planet is destroyed in a massive explosion.
Yeah.
And so that's a pretty epic. Everything in this show it's cranked up to an 11.
I think they get the people off of it though, don't they?
Yeah, I believe they save everybody and they take them all to Earth. I believe it's where they end up.
Yeah, and I remember them talking about Namekians. I think Bulma is asking them because there's they meet a really nice one that's like younger and shorter guy, and they're asking him about like, well, are there girls and boys? And he's like, no. And what's like to have new Namekians, they just like bud or something.
And they asexually reproduce. Yeah,
it was something where I remember Bulma was like horrified about it, and they make. It's funny that they left that in there because I bet in the Japanese version there was probably some more sex stuff in there. But I remember that Bulma was just kind of like, ew, my gosh. Ugh.
Well, I'm sure there's a race out there in the universe that does something like that, and we're just like, whoa, that'd be weird. And they probably think how we do things is weird.
Things here on the Earth that do that,
which is pretty cool. A lot of plants do it, so it's kind of strange. So, but it's a different way of life. So, upon his return to Earth a year later, Goku encounters a time traveler named Trunks.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is where Trunks...
The future son of who?
Well, it's Vegeta and Bulma, but
Awkward.
He tells... Because Piccolo can hear everything, but because he has these big ears aren't just for show. But Trunks talks to Goku and is explaining, like, this is happening and I need your help and blah, blah, blah. And he explains who he is, and Goku's like, oh my God. And Trunks says, but you can't say anything because then you'll change the timeline and I won't be born.
Yep.
And then when they go back, Piccolo's like, I'm going to tell the group. He says, but I will tell them only what they need to hear. And he's like looking at Trunks like, okay, I'm not going to tell them about you.
Yeah. Don't be a snitch, Piccolo.
But I remember that because Goku looks back when Trunks tells who he is, and he looks back at Vegeta and Bulma are kind of standing close together, and they look so different and so like disgusted with each other, and it's just like, oh God,
attract.
How did that happen?
So Trunks actually warns Goku that 2 androids will appear 3 years later, seeking revenge against Goku for destroying the Red Ribbon Army when he was a child. Which I have no idea what the Red Ribbon Army is. I'm sure they go into a little bit
something from Dragon Ball. I vaguely remember in that Pojo guidebook it talked about it. Because I used to read that thing for funsies.
For funsies?
That's what it
So the Red Ribbon
does.
Army is a paramilitary organization led by Commander Red, a short man who has his forces raid towns in search of the dragonballs on a quest for world domination. So that's essentially what it is.
The usual.
Yeah, basically, basic, tyrant type stuff. So, anyways, so during this time, an evil life form called Cell emerges, and after absorbing 2 of the androids to achieve his
that was disgusting.
perfect form, he holds his own fighting tournament to decide the fate of Earth, known as the Cell Games. After Goku sacrifices his own life a second time to no avail, Gohan avenges his father by destroying Cell after ascending to the 2nd level of Super Saiyan. Mm-hmm. So if you've noticed, they're just like, well, obviously Super Saiyan isn't cool enough. We had to make it Super Saiyan. Super Duper Saiyan. It's Super Duper Saiyan.
I really doubt that. But
it's not. I know it's not. But it's just the 2nd level. I'm just trolling people a little bit.
Android 18 is Cell, I think Goku or Gohan punches Cell so hard in the stomach he pukes up the girl android, the blonde one. Mm-hmm. And I think she factors in later on. She becomes a wife of somebody.
I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, it's there's so many interconnected crazy things. But yeah, I remember all that.
So I vividly remember that this is about the time that I started actually watching it on Toonami, and I'm just watching it with James. I'm like, what in God's name is going on?
Yeah, that got pretty weird when he absorbed the Android 17 with his tail. It was disgusting because his first form was really gross looking.
Yeah, it really was.
And I don't big tail and kind of nasty weird face, and then when his second form he looks like a military commander, some big buff Arnold Schwarzenegger guy, and then third form it's the same thing happened with Frieza. Yeah, well they did the same thing with Frieza, they make the third form as smaller, and it's the second form is this huge awful looking
got big
thing.
Horns and things like that.
Yeah, and then this third form is smaller and more sleek looking.
Yeah, he's much more agile and things like that. Mm-hmm. But so after all that happens, it takes 7 years before Goku is revived for one day to reunite with his loved ones and meet his youngest son, Goten, at the Tenkachi Budokai. Which I don't know what that is. Do you know what that is?
No.
I'm assuming it's some kind of tournament. Soon after, well, you know what? Let's look it up because we're curious.
It's kind of like you have the internet at your fingertips, so.
Don't be lazy, David. You should have figured this out beforehand. She said,
you should get your show notes a little souped up. See, this is hard for a teacher because I'm do your research and sound legitimate.
What?
I know, dude. I just help out. Sorry.
Yeah, see, that's what I was right. it literally means the number one under heaven martial arts gathering.
That sounds
it's a tournament.
A good time.
It sounds like a good time. A lot of punching and kicking.
Is Mr. Satan there?
I do not know. I'd have to look into that a little bit.
He's hilarious.
Which I'm sure.
He's really funny.
What I kind of skipped over a little bit of that stuff, and because there's some of the lore in this is so dense.
Yeah.
We could have literally talked about this for probably 3 hours.
And or more.
If not more. But
I know it gets pretty heavy because... And even after Dragon Ball Z, there was Dragon Ball GT, which I never watched. But I feel like there was one I remember reading about.
So that was in between Kai and...
Yes.
In Dragon Ball Z. Yeah.
I don't think it did very well, but they have the fusion earrings in that one, where they have these earrings.
The only good part about that is Gotenks.
Gotenks.
Yeah, they do the little dance and they push their fingers together and they mess up a couple times and there's a fat version of Gotenks and a skinny old version of Gotenks because they get their fingers
have to do the dance and
perfectly. Because if they mess up, they do all these little funny thorns.
They have Gogeta.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that all that happened in the GT series. But that again, those are ones I just read about. in Pojos, and I didn't actually get to watch.
Gotenks.
Gotunks.
That's why I thought his name was Gotenks is his name for some reason.
Because it's Trunks and Goten.
Yeah, I have to.
Well, and
oh, come on, show me a picture. Yeah,
it's interesting because Trunks.
Like. Yeah, he looks like a super like hardcore dude, but like there's this version where he's like old and he's like
all frail looking.
Yeah, and I cannot. They don't have it in here. Oh,
well, it's interesting they have all these names because Trunks, he has a sister named Bra, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, come on, Trunks and Bra, really?
Yeah, I know. They kind of got a little lazy on the end. And, well, they even have another guy coming on like later on. I'm sure I'll get flagged for this, but I don't know if he comes up in any of the other series. But the newest one in Kai, his name is Broly.
Yeah. I've just seen it written Broly.
Broly, yeah.
I don't
remember. He's like hardcore. He's supposed to be like stronger than any of the other ones. I just don't know what his deal is, but we can go over that a little bit more in another episode. But it's just really interesting to see, like, they're just keep upping the game with, like, power levels and things like that, so.
I mean, yeah, that's just how it goes. That's like my Harry Dresden book, number 17, like, the battles. You didn't think it could get any more intense, and guess what? It got more intense.
Oh, little did you know. But anyways, so after the tournament, Goku and his allies are drawn into a fight by the Supreme Kai against a magical being known as Majin Buu. Remember Majin Buu? He looks so cute. He's all like round and like fat looking. He's basically pink.
Oh yes, that goofy thing.
Well, he's summoned, but that Majin Buu was summoned by the evil wizard Babi D.
Yeah.
Yeah, and after numerous battles that result in the deaths of many of Goku's allies as well as the destruction of Earth, Goku, whose life is fully restored by the Elder Supreme Kai, kills Kid Buu, which is like the more powerful form of Majin Buu. I guess because you gotta have forms, I guess. With the Spirit Bomb attack containing the energy of all the inhabitants of Earth, who were resurrected along with the planet by the Namekian dragonballs. Namekian dragonballs. Goku makes a wish for Buu to be reincarnated as a good person, and 10 years later, at another Tanaki Budokai, he meets Buu's human reincarnation, Oob.
Oob, yes.
Yeah, Oob. We're gonna
because
just take
Buu goes to
we're
Oob.
just gonna turn his name and spin it around because that's the way it is. Leaving the match between them unfinished, Goku departs with Oob to train him to become Earth's new defender. Oob. And so that's like the end of the series.
Of Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z. That's how they end it.
I'm trying to remember what happened, but I kind of trailed off after Cell. And I think that was when I went to high school, and then I just didn't have time. And maybe, I know another big thing that happened. The cable company got smart because they used to have channel 23, 24, and 25. Started upping them channels. Well, it was Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, and Disney were 23, 24, 25. And with like not the basic package, but like the basic package up, which is what our family had, you had all those. And then I feel like it happened around 8th grade or high school. The cable company was like, nope, screw you guys. And they put all of those channels up in the 50s and the 60s. And like, I remember our parents telling us, we're really sorry, but it's just, this is way too expensive. It would have been double the cable price. And my parents were like, we're not paying for that. So I think I'm pretty sure that's what happened because we lost the channels, and then so I didn't get to watch them anymore. Yeah, it wasn't too long after that Mom and Dad got rid of cable too, because the company just kept making it worse and worse and worse.
Well, nowadays it's almost doing the other thing. Now you have to have like 8 million different streaming services.
I know, just to have things, but
and it's kind of annoying, but
they find a way to get theirs.
That's right, they do. But kind of backtracking with that a little bit. So being able to like that syndication you were talking about, that was a huge part about bringing it all to America. So do you remember who helped bring over the Dragon Ball Z
Was
license.
it Funimation?
Funimation, actually. This is whenever Funimation was still kind of just getting started a little bit, and they were really looking for licensings and things like that. But another one, it was a North American-based company that helped bring it over. Do you remember? It's very, very prominent. If I say the name, you'll probably know who, like other things they did. You know who Saban is?
Yeah, the Power Ranger ones.
Exactly. So so a lot of people know him for Saban's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So he helped bring a lot of that stuff over, and really helped cement that Power Rangers in our culture especially in the '90s. But he even did so with a lot of these other little things like Dragon Ball Z, and you could almost say that he helped bring anime to the U.S. A little bit, so it's really kind of cool. So he partnered with them, but he did a lot of the releasing the Saban Entertainment at the time. So he helped bring them over into the syndication, which is where you probably saw a lot of that. And he's like he's a very good businessman on things. He put out merchandising and all kinds of stuff. I mean, as you can tell with like Power Rangers and things like that. So
yeah.
But yeah, so he was actually really instrumental in getting a couple of contract musicians by the name of Ron Weiserman and Jeremy Sweet, who actually helped with a lot of the Power Rangers music for the show, help a very iconic song that you probably know.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Well, yes, but they also did a very iconic song that is connected with this episode for Dragon Ball Z. Do you remember how it goes?
The Dragon Ball song? Yeah. I don't.
It's a dragon.
Oh,
rock
yes.
the dragon.
Yes.
Dragon Ball Z.
Okay,
so
I do remember that. That was pretty awesome.
They helped write that and like get it set up. So that was
that was an anthem.
That was for kids, and that was not the same intro song as it was in Japan at all. It was still like heavy a little bit, but I don't think it didn't have the same words.
Well, I guess because kind of like with Power Rangers, they had all those characters, all like the white people. They filmed that here in the U.S., right? And then they just kept the action scenes from Japan.
Oh, yeah.
That's like when they brought Sailor Moon over and they had the PSAs added in. Like, they would do stuff like that to make it more wholesome. And it's like, now it's like American audience friendly.
So, kind of going off that a little bit. So, due to those cuts, so they did a lot of cuts in it to make it kid friendly because
maybe that's why the episodes were so insanely short.
So how many episodes do you think are in the Japanese version of Dragon Ball Z?
Oh gosh, well I actually just saw it on your thing.
Yeah, just
like 576 or something.
No. So look, it's since we're just talking about the main series and we're not talking about all of the ones, there are 67 episodes in the Japanese version. Or out of the first, because so what they did is they only aired a portion of the Dragon Ball Z series initially before they came in and did the full run. So with the initial, out of the first 67 episodes, only 53 of them aired in the U.S. because that's how much they cut. Yeah, so
that's funny.
that is insane. So if you go through. Most of the edits were actually done to make the anime more tame, like I said, and kid-friendly, notably having references to death sidestepped with phrases like, sent to the next dimension.
Yes.
So that's just insane to think that's I guess that they had to have their stamp of approval to make sure on primetime television to let kids, or afternoon television to let kids watch it.
I know Vegeta had a shirt. I forget what happened, but Vegeta ended up like wearing somebody's old clothes, and he had a shirt that said, they made it say bad man. Mm-hmm. And I think in the Japanese version it said badass or something
Probably. Like that. It's just really kind of funny that they did that. So during the first initial premiering of the series into the US market, you get it started going in September 13th of 96, which is the first run syndication, but they halted production in 98 after 2 seasons despite strong ratings from people, from the audiences. This is mainly due because Saban was scaling down syndication openings in order to focus on producing original material for Fox Kids, which is this is when you're getting more into his Power Rangers kind of days a little bit more, because he's doing subsequent
like Power Rangers series
and things like that. Not the
Yeah.
original one, but he's kind of moving into that. And he's trying to do original material for the Fox Kids block is what he's trying to do. Really trying to get into that, which that was a huge deal when we were kids. But he also had they also retained the rights to try to release the uncut subtitled version, but they never come around to do that. But they did, however, release uncut dubbed versions of the original 3 Z movies on home video, which is kind of interesting. So you don't actually see, and so after he kind of lets it lapse a little bit, the distribution rights, they began airing a lot of this stuff in 1998 later on in the year on Cartoon Network as part of the channel's weekday afternoon Toonami block. So you see that a lot. They start to put
that would have been like when I watched it.
Yeah, and so you would have seen it on Cartoon Network a lot during then. And so they redubbed a lot of things and came. And so you have these weird two different like dubbed versions. So when you have it, you have the versions from when Saban had it dubbed in Vancouver, and then you had the Texas-based Funimation Studios, which helped really push that. And so they did have similar. They try to keep the voices as similar as possible, but they did kind of change over those things a little bit. So, but unfortunately, that was very short-lived, and they really never got back around to doing anything further over the 67 episodes. So, which unfortunately, I really wish they would have done more than that, but it is what it is. So, but so just trying to guess, what did you think of the whole series as a whole? Just curious. Because I know you're kind of getting towards the end of your rope at this point.
I mean, I really enjoyed it. But again, I ended at the Cell saga, and I don't remember after that point. But, I mean, even looking back, the goofy laughing and the shoulders moving and the grunting and the loud yells. I loved it. I do know that every episode would end, like, kind of on a cliffhanger. Not every single one, but a lot of them, like, especially in the battles. And I remember that being frustrated and, like, I gotta see the next one, oh my gosh. But I really enjoyed the characters, and, like, Goku was my absolute favorite. Like, the nicest person in the world kind of person. Like, I remember, like, him as an ideal, like, role model. Like, I want to be like Goku. Like, so nice, but, like, so strong and tough. Yeah, I loved it.
Good. So
could have had some female characters that were stronger, but then again, I mean, maybe they did work them in and I just didn't get to see that part, because I know if I look in that Pojo guidebook, there were so many, like, female
they
characters.
They had a lot of supporting situations what they mostly did.
Yeah, but not like main characters.
So I will actually sum up how I feel about it in a couple words as over-exaggerated, for one. And I wouldn't call it infantile. I would call it, I don't know. I just almost feel like it's over-exaggerated, and for me, it's almost a little disappointing. I guess.
Like juvenile?
Yeah.
Not juvenile, but...
But I still, at the same time, as though it was good comfort anime back in the day, but I watch it now and it just doesn't bring back the same feeling as it would. I hate to say that. I know that there'll be a lot of people that disagree with me on that, but I just...
Well, it's personal preference.
I think it's honestly the fact that I started watching it when I was a lot older than you were, whenever you started watching it. And it's just wasn't... I never gained that adoration for it or that connection with it like you did when I was younger. It's kind of like with me and TMNT with Turtles. But it's just one of those things that you just... Once you get in, if it's something that you really get into when you're a kid, it just kind of sticks with you a little bit more. So
well, kind of like, I mean, Pokemon I was pretty obsessed with that, and now I hardly can stand it, but I know people that are my age that love it. Like, Will was obsessed with it and still, like, rewatching the old animated series, and I can't imagine doing that, but that's the same kind of thing, like you're talking with Dragon Ball Z. It didn't strike a chord with you in that way, and, like, Pokemon didn't do that for me.
I will watch Full Metal Alchemist till the day I die.
Yeah, well, and it's just different things and different preferences, and that's okay.
Yeah. And so to wrap up a little bit, so in 2005, media historian Hal Eckerson wrote that Dragon Ball may be the closest thing on American television to an animated soap opera. Though this particular genre is an old, established, and venerated one in Japan, the series' country of origin. Christopher J. Olsen and Carrie Lynn D. Reinhard noted that Western fans flocked to Dragon Ball Z because it offered exciting action not found in movies or television shows, animated or otherwise, at that time. So that's kind of one of those really interesting things. That's a really good summary of, like, why people flock to it, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So, but that's, I mean, like I said, Dragon Ball will I don't think it's ever going to stop. They're never going to stop making things involving Dragon Ball. Just for one, it's a huge commercial success. And it's a huge commercial success. It's a huge commercial success. They're probably never going to win any awards over it. But, I mean, it's going to make some kids happy in the long run. So, but yeah, that's kind of our thoughts on Dragon Ball Z. Is there anything else you want to add before we skedaddle out of here, Jackie?
No. I enjoy it, but to each their own.
Yeah, it's like I said. And that's why we have different flavors for different folks around here, guys. And like I said, I was going over something that Jackie really enjoyed, even though it was my cup of tea. And similarly, guys, if there's something that you want us to talk about, let us know. Hit us up on any of our social medias. You can email us at seriouslypointlessconvo@gmail.com if you want us to try and go over a topic that you feel like you want us to hit, especially if it's something that we haven't gone over yet, or if it's something that we aren't planning to go over. Because that's the wonderful world of nerd and geek culture. There's so many things that are out there that we just haven't gotten into yet, but again, I just want to thank everybody for coming by. Jackie, thanks for coming by and visiting in today. And like I said, hopefully we will get more into some of our other stuff later on next week. We might be taking a break around Thanksgiving just because obviously holidays. But we will try and get as many of our episodes out on time as possible. But just want to let you guys know. But again, thanks, Jackie, for stopping by.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You guys have a wonderful day. Bye.
If you're interested in keeping up to date with new episodes on our channel, add us on any of your favorite podcasting apps, or subscribe to our YouTube channel at Seriously Pointless Conversations. If you have questions or concerns, please email us at seriouslypointlessconvo@gmail.com. We appreciate any feedback. Thank you for listening to our show.